the fragile bond between a mother and her son. This village, though sparsely populated by locals, transforms into a bustling tourist destination during the summer months. Here we are introduced to young Piotrek and his mother. Piotrek's father works far away from home, leaving the boy and his mother to navigate their daily lives entirely on their own. Because Piotrek has grown up in this isolated environment with minimal social interaction, he struggles with intense feelings of loneliness. He has no friends his own age, making his mother the absolute center of his universe. Every aspect of his existence revolves around her. The idyllic bond between mother and son is established right from the beginning. They are inseparable. Piotrek's daily routine is a beautiful, uninterrupted loop of spending time with the woman who means everything to him. They ride bicycles together through the lush country roads. They swim in the nearby lakes, and they play games, just the two of them. In one of the most heartwarming recurring scenes, the two of them race alongside the passing trains, a daily ritual that cements their close-knit relationship. To Piotrek, this isolated life is perfect because he has his mother's undivided attention. Their relationship is depicted as pure, deeply affectionate, and completely exclusive. There is no room for anyone else in Piotrek's world, and for a while it seems his mother feels the exact same way. However, the tranquility of their lives is violently disrupted as the summer vacation season officially begins. The quiet village is suddenly flooded with tourists and neighboring families arriving to enjoy the local picnic spots and lakes. While the village comes alive with new faces, Piotrek remains isolated. His lack of social skills, born from years of seclusion, makes it incredibly difficult for him to approach the other children or make new friends. But the real tragedy begins when Piotrek notices a sudden drastic shift in his mother's behavior. The woman who once spent every waking moment with him suddenly starts leaving the house at night. The psychological toll on the young boy begins immediately. At first, Piotrek tries to process this change silently, not reacting outwardly. He watches as his mother receives mysterious phone calls every single evening, after which she dresses up and walks out the door, leaving him completely alone in the empty house. Piotrek's nights turn into agonizing vigils. He sits up waiting for her, staring out the window, trapped in a house that suddenly feels too big and too quiet. Sometimes she returns late into the night. Other times, she doesn't come home until morning. To appease his growing distress, she offers empty promises, telling him that she will spend the entire next day with him. But when tomorrow comes, she breaks her promise, leaving him alone once again. Driven into isolation, Piotrek begins to spiral into severe anxiety and depression. He is a child entirely unequipped to cope with this sudden abandonment, completely devoid of a support system or friends to distract him. A glimmer of hope appears when Piotrek notices a new girl named Majka has moved into the neighborhood for the summer. Desperate for connection, Piotrek attempts to bridge the gap and befriend her. However, playing the role of a typical guarded teenager, Majka initially brushes him off, offering no response to his awkward attempts at conversation. Rejected, Piotrek's frustration with his situation reaches a boiling point. The very next day, as his mother prepares to abandon him for another evening out, Piotrek acts out in a desperate plea for attention. He deliberately spills a glass full of juice all over her dress. Instead of recognizing this as a child's cry for help, his mother explodes in a fit of rage. She screams at him, scolding him harshly, entirely blind to the immense emotional agony tearing her son apart from the inside. Without a second thought, she simply changes her ruined dress and leaves the house to meet her lover, proving that her secret life is now more important than her child's mental well-being. Driven by suspicion and profound heartbreak, Piotrek decides to follow his mother into the night. He trails her through the village, remaining hidden in the shadows, until he discovers the devastating truth. She is meeting another man. She has a boyfriend. As Piotrek walks back alone, absorbing the shock of this betrayal, the director uses a brilliant visual metaphor. Piotrek encounters a lone baby deer wandering aimlessly on the empty road. The fawn, separated from its mother, perfectly mirrors Piotrek's own tragic reality. He too has been left behind by his mother to wander alone through the vast, overwhelming wilderness of his summer vacation. Seeing the lost fawn brings a strange sense of solace to the boy. He realizes he is not the only lonely creature in the world, giving him the courage to try and find companionship once again. The next day, Piotrek approaches Majka with renewed determination, and this time, the walls come down. They begin talking, and after sharing bits of their lives, a genuine friendship blossoms. Majka reveals her own deep-seated pain, explaining that her parents are divorced and that she too feels incredibly lonely in this world. Finding comfort in their shared trauma, the two become inseparable. Piotrek begins to transfer the activities he once shared with his mother onto Majka. They go cycling together, they swim in the lake, and they sit by the water talking for hours. For the first time all summer, Piotrek's paralyzing anxiety begins to subside. He has an outlet for his pain, someone to share his loneliness with, and the sharp sting of his mother's absence begins to dull. But the complicated adult world soon crashes back into Piotrek's life. One afternoon, an unfamiliar woman arrives at their house. She is the wife of the man Piotrek's mother is having an affair with. Finding the mother absent, the heartbroken woman breaks down in tears right in their home. Showing remarkable empathy for a child in his situation, Piotrek awkwardly tries to comfort her, offering her food. That same evening, a phone call comes from Piotrek's father. As they speak, Piotrek's mother pulls him aside and aggressively corners him. She forces him to swear that he will not breathe a single word about her affair to his father. Believing that cooperating will somehow win his mother's love back, Piotrek takes the oath and lies to his dad. He thinks this shared secret will bring them closer, but his mother remains entirely unfazed, continuing her reckless behavior without an ounce of gratitude. Piotrek's desperation morphs into rebellion. He tries everything a child can think of to stop her from leaving. He starts hiding the keys to the main door. He physically blocks her path. But his mother is relentless. She fights him, strikes him, and physically overpowers her own son just to get out the door to see her boyfriend. She is completely blinded by her own selfish desires, ignoring the immense trauma she is inflicting on the boy who cries alone in the house every night. During this dark period, Majka remains his only sanctuary, but even this happiness is short-lived. A menacing older teenage boy begins stalking and harassing Majka around the picnic spots. It is painfully obvious that Majka is terrified of him. Because of his young age and small stature, Piotrek is powerless to protect her from this local gang, but it tears him apart inside. The older boy maliciously warns Piotrek to stay away, claiming Majka belongs exclusively to him. The ultimate betrayal comes one night when Piotrek, while secretly trailing his mother again, stumbles upon Majka willingly spending time with that same older abusive boy. Seeing his only friend with his tormentor shatters Piotrek, he feels the suffocating grip of loneliness wrapping around his throat once more. The emotional pressure cooker finally explodes. The next morning, Piotrek confronts Majka, desperately asking if the older boy had forced himself on her. Majka, looking terrified and overwhelmed, refuses to answer and runs into her house crying. Assuming she was assaulted, Piotrek's protective instincts kick in. In a blind rage, he charges at the older boy's group and attacks him. Predictably, the older, stronger boy easily overpowers Piotrek, beating him down while the child fails to land a single meaningful blow. Later, Majka comes to Piotrek, trying to explain the situation and salvage their friendship, begging him not to be so hurt, but the damage is done. Piotrek's heart, already mutilated by his mother's abandonment, cannot handle what he perceives as Majka's betrayal. Lacking any parental guidance or emotional maturity to process his complex feelings, Piotrek turns emotionally violent. He unleashes all his pent-up frustration, anger, and unspoken trauma directly onto Majka, hurling insults at her until she finally turns her back and walks away for good. Piotrek is entirely alone once again, a victim of the chaotic, unguided emotions boiling inside him. Suddenly, the narrative shifts when the mother comes home in tears. Her affair has ended. Her boyfriend has dumped her. For several days, she walks around the house enveloped in a deep, miserable depression. However, Piotrek is secretly overjoyed. His mother is finally home. He doesn't care why she is there, only that she is present, and he begins taking tender care of her. This strange peace is amplified when the father unexpectedly returns home, bringing a carload of gifts. The father promises to spend the rest of the summer vacation with them, and for a fleeting moment, Piotrek experiences the warmth of a complete, happy family. His loneliness evaporates, and his anxiety fades into the background. But the ghosts of the summer refuse to stay buried. One night, while playing a game, the father casually asks Piotrek if his mother ever went out late or saw anyone while he was away. Bound by the promise he made, Piotrek looks his father in the eye and lies, saying she never left. However, the father is not blind. He notices the drastic change in his wife's demeanor and remains suspicious. Around this time, Majka visits one last time to say goodbye. Her summer vacation is over and she is returning to the city. As they take one final bike ride and swim in the lake, Majka expresses deep regret for hurting him. Piotrek realizes there is nothing he can do to stop her from leaving. It is the natural end of the season. The illusion of the happy family is violently shattered when Piotrek returns home from saying goodbye to Majka. He walks into the house only to see the wife of his mother's ex-lover walking down the stairs. The woman has told Piotrek's father everything. Piotrek cautiously enters the house and finds his father sitting on the edge of the bathtub, weeping uncontrollably. The foundation of trust has been completely obliterated. Realizing the extent of the betrayal, the father packs his bags. The mother begs him to stay, weeping and pleading. But when the core trust of a relationship is destroyed, no amount of crying can fix it. The father walks out the door, returning to his job, likely never to return. The movie reaches its heartbreaking symbolic climax. Summer is officially over. It is the first day of school. The mother and Piotrek are walking to the school building in absolute suffocating silence. Piotrek is boiling with intense resentment. Because of his mother's selfish, reckless behavior, his father is gone forever. Because of her neglect, he was left emotionally crippled, unable to properly navigate his friendship with Majka. He was denied a mother's love when he needed it most, and now he is left with a broken home. As they approach a railway crossing, the mother steps over the tracks, walking ahead. Piotrek, however, stops and intentionally stays behind. Suddenly, the crossing bells ring, and a massive speeding train roars down the tracks, physically separating the mother and son. Panic sets in. The mother turns back, screaming as the train blocks her view of Piotrek. In this terrifying moment, facing the potential loss of her child, the ultimate realization crashes down on her. She finally understands what is truly important. It wasn't the thrill of the affair or the selfish nights out. It was the husband and son who were always there for her. As the train clears, Piotrek is still standing there, unharmed but emotionally distant. The mother falls to her knees, weeping bitterly as she realizes that to save what is left of her family, she must drastically change the track of her own life. The movie fades to black on this profound note of realization and regret, leaving the audience to ponder the heavy price of selfishness.